We're pleased to be joined to cap off today's edition of the show by personal chef and recipe creator and food photographer, Gregory. Megan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So appreciate having you on. You have a really interesting story of how you got into your current career path. You began working in fashion and did that for about 10 years and then made that transition. So tell us a little bit about your journey from your original career to what you're currently doing today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got my degree in fashion merchandising. I was in retail for a long time, and although I did love it while that season was in play, my heart was just telling me that my passion lied elsewhere. With the hours and the holiday working and the nights, I knew I wanted more flexibility in my schedule. And during that time of just really trying to figure out what is next in my journey here, I started cooking a lot and just teaching myself to cook from scratch and experiencing just multiple different cuisines in the kitchen. And from there, I started a little page called The Culinary Nest, and it was really meant to be a hobby, just to share my love for cooking and food. And from there, people started commenting, and they're like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. Can you come make it for me? And the light bulb went off. I'm like, why don't I say yes? So I started a personal chef service doing in-home dining. I've done up to 30-person events. I went through everything I should as far as Safe Serve certified. And really everything has just been taking off from there and constantly evolving. It grew into cooking for clients weekly. I am now a food photographer, took all the different classes to get into that. I really enjoy recipe development, so working with brands to develop recipes for them, or just for fun, to post on my page and share with anyone who is inspired. And my goal is just to teach you that cooking isn't really that scary. It's very simple. Just make sure you get in the kitchen, get yourself prepared, and give it a try.
Personal chef, recipe creator, and food photographer, Gregory from The Culinary Nest joins us today on the MegaCast. And as you made that transition and you started The Culinary Nest, and as you said, it was more of just a hobby. It's something you enjoyed to do as you were reevaluating your life and your career. When did it make that shift from being, this is something I'm doing kind of on the side and something that I'm interested in, to, oh my, I can really turn this into a day-to-day career and help people also with their issues in the kitchen and their concerns in the kitchen as well?
Yeah, it happened pretty fast. I would say about 3 months after starting just an Instagram page and posting on there. Once I really had that light bulb moment of like, oh my gosh, I actually could do this for a living. I mean, this is a need that people have in their lives, and food is such a common language, right? It's the one thing that the entire world can come together and say, we all eat, we all love food, and it's truly an artwork as well. So I think after about 3 to 4 months, it really started after I started putting myself out there. I started getting hired, and then word of mouth spreads, and really that's been the best marketing ever. It's just happy bellies.
We're joined by Gregory. She's a personal chef, recipe creator, and food photographer. You can find all of her work online on the culinarynest.com. So, Megan, about how many clients are you regularly cooking for, and how often are you posting recipes and food photography on your website and on your social media?
Yeah, so I'm servicing 15 households a week currently. So making food for them for their weeks, and that is a limited amount of people that I can service, but I try my best to do as many as I can. As far as food photography, I'm really working on typically about 1 job a week and getting that going. Recipe posting, I'm trying to be more and more consistent with that. I do feel like, when you start branching out, I feel like I'm kind of running 3 different careers between the recipe development and food photography and cooking. So posting recipes, I'd say I put out about 3 to 4 a month, as well as just random tips and products I might love, things like that. So I'm always trying to provide some inspiration, whether it's a recipe or something else.
So you always have had an interest in cooking and have of course, made that transition from your previous career to being a personal chef and to putting together these recipes and posting on theculinarynest.com. But the food photography element of it is kind of the outlier in that equation. How did you get into food photography?
Yeah, so really, obviously you want a beautiful, cohesive website to showcase your recipes, but that really wasn't why I dove in so deep into food photography. So honestly, that was COVID. That was the moment that I had a good 3-month break. We didn't know when we were returning. I wasn't, the grocery stores were kind of empty. You didn't know what ingredients you were going to get, and everyone was really, stay at home. So during that time, I'm like, you know what? Now is the time. It's not often that you have just truly that kind of space in your life. So I enrolled in a photography school, invested in an actual DSLR camera, the lighting, the diffusers, everything like that. And I've been practicing ever since. Pretty soon after getting through that class, I started opening it up that I will shoot for you. I'll create recipes, or if you already have a recipe and you're just needing, more aesthetically pleasing marketing, I'm happy to photograph for you. I also do product photography, and I do lifestyle photography. So it's really just keeps growing.
We're joined by Megan Gregory from the Culinary Nest. She is a personal chef, recipe creator, and food photographer. So you started the food photography during the pandemic. That aspect of your career came into play really due to COVID-19, or that was where the onset to put that element into your career came into play. How else did COVID-19 and the pandemic and the experiences of the last year and a half affect your business, and in what ways did it maybe help your business also?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely affected my business as far as my consistent income was definitely lowered during that time. But it really benefited in a way that I had the time to truly sit. It was a crazy 3 years as I built everything with this business, and then being able to have that space to say, okay, let's hone in on what your passions are, true passions are. What do you want to grow in? What do you need to practice in? And what other ways can I build my brand to make it multifaceted? So it was really beneficial in that way, just really settle into my mind. But I was very excited to get back in the kitchen for my clients as well.
We're joined by Megan Gregory, personal chef, recipe creator, and food photographer. You can find all of her work online on theculinarynest.com. And she joins us today on the MegaCast. And Megan, I'm also told in my notes from our producers that you have a demonstration for us of something that you enjoy cooking.
Yeah, so I am making Moroccan chicken kebabs over an herbed couscous. So this dish, I love it for summer because you can eat it cold. It involves grilling, but it also carries into the rest of the year. So it's something that's healthy, it's really flavorful. You can put your own spins on it anytime you want to. And when grilling season is closed, which a few more months it will be, you can also prepare this recipe using the oven, just roasting the chicken. Would you like me to get started?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is I've prepared my couscous already. Pretty much you just go by the box instructions. One thing with couscous, I recommend using broth. You can do veggie broth, chicken broth, rather than water. That just already starts to infuse your couscous. So I have that, and I have this over here chilling. My chicken, I marinated last night. You really want to marinate this up to 12 hours, but you can just do one. But you do want it to kind of sit in the marinade. What's in here is garlic, ginger, cilantro. There's cumin, chili powder, smoked paprika, a little bit of cayenne, juice and zest of a lemon, and olive oil. So I just kind of let that all marinate together. And what you're going to do, let me put on my gloves, because raw chicken's never fun to feel.
No.
So we're going to skewer these up. And the way I'm preparing them for this season is on the grill. You just throw it on there for 15 to 20 minutes until it has a nice char. And you want the internal temperature of chicken to be 165 degrees. So you just take a little skewer, and let me move this for you. Take a skewer, you're going to just take your chicken and just start skewering it right on. I would say probably, because these are a little bit smaller of chunks, I'm going to do about 7 to 8 pieces per skewer. I'm using white meat here. You can definitely use dark meat. I think dark meat has a beautiful flavor to it. It has more of that fatty content, so it's a really tender piece of meat. But because I marinated this, white chicken is going to be really nice and juicy as well. So once you're done skewering, which will look like that, I have already grilled them for you, so we didn't have to spend the time waiting for that. Once you pull them out, they're going to be nice and charred and flavorful.
Very nice.
So that is your chicken skewers. We're going to set those aside while we prepare the couscous that we're going to put this over.
Okay.
So on the couscous, I'm going to season this up first. We are going to do a little bit of olive oil just to give it a little bit of moisture in there. We're also going to add some dried cranberries. You could also do dried apricots. You could do raisins. You could do fresh cut apples. Anything that provides that sweetness, I think would blend really well to this dish. We're going to add some olives. My favorite are Castelvetrano olives. They're really buttery. They have a little bit more of a firm bite to them and a little less of that salty flavor. So I really love these. You can also do Kalamata. You can do whatever you'd like, black, green. So I'm going to add my olives. And last in here, I'm going to add my pine nuts. You can also do sliced almonds. You could do walnuts. You could do crushed peanuts, whatever your favorites are. So we're going to mix that in. And that's kind of like a little pilaf. You're kind of making a couscous pilaf. The chicken has so much seasoning on it that I'm not going to add a ton of seasoning to this. Maybe just a little salt and pepper. You always want to season every aspect of your dish. So that is our couscous here. I'm going to set that aside. We're also going to do some really fresh, just cold, clean toppings. So I have some fresh washed arugula that's going to go on top. We're going to slice up some cucumber here. I like doing everything on a little bit of an angle. I think it just looks really pretty. So we have some fresh sliced cucumber. I'm also going to do a lemon wedge on top of here to squeeze over. And really quickly, we're going to make a lemon maple tahini dressing to go over top.
Oh, okay.
4 ingredients and we're done.
Wow.
So we're going to take this tahini. And tahini is ground sesame seed. That's all that this ingredient is. It can be a little thick in texture. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of water to this once I get my ingredients mixed together. That always kind of helps just get the consistency that you need.
Okay.
So I'm going to grab a little tahini. Ooh, this one actually has a nice texture to it, so we might not need as much water as possible. You'll notice that there is oil separation when you're pulling out tahini. That's very normal. So you just want to mix it together. I'm going to slice my lemon. I love using a citrus juicer. I think they are an amazing tool in the kitchen. It helps kind of hold your seeds in. It's the maximum juice out of your citrus. I'm going to put that over, squeeze that in. And the only other 2 ingredients I'm going to add in here is a little pinch of salt and a little bit of maple syrup. This just adds a little bit of sweetness because you have the acidity from the lemon. You have the creaminess from your beautiful tahini, salt, and then your sweetness. It's all about balance in the kitchen. Quite honestly, for a dressing, I would say that this looks like a great consistency. You can see that it's going to run.
Yeah.
So it will coat your couscous and your chicken. It'd be great to dip in there, or you could just kind of drizzle it over everything. So let's just put it all together.
Okay.
It's a very simple recipe. I think it's so fast and easy to make for family. Couscous takes 5 minutes. The chicken is really fast and easy to put together. Where's my bowl? There we go. I'm going to plate in here really fast. Can you see all right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Go.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So on the bottom, we're going to add our couscous. Get a nice serving down there. On the side, we are going to add our arugula. Nice pinch. We're going to add our beautiful chicken skewers right on top of the arugula. Add our sliced cucumbers.
Okay.
And a drizzle of your tahini. And you have a really beautiful, fresh dish.
Very nice, and relatively quick too. That was less than 10 minutes that we spent just preparing that recipe. Of course, it doesn't take into account the grilling time for the chicken there, but you have a bunch of these kinds of recipes on your website, correct?
I do. I have a lot of really delicious recipes ranging from a variety of cuisines. I can name a few of you that are my top favorites that you'll find on there. I have a beautiful lemon rice soup that has been really popular. It's velvety and silky because you actually temper eggs into the lemon juice and then back into your soup. That might sound scary. I promise it's not. It's the most simple technique.
Okay.
I make miso salmon over ginger noodles is another delicious one. You just marinate your salmon overnight in some mirin and miso and brown sugar, and it literally falls apart just like candy over this beautiful ginger noodle with fresh scallion and serrano peppers and cilantro. I do a sticky chicken, which is a 3-ingredient chicken recipe. This is a go-to in the nest weekly. It is just soy sauce, apple cider vinegar, and maple syrup. You pretty much just sear up your chicken thighs, coat it in that dressing, let it go for maybe 8 minutes, and that sauce just sticks right to the chicken, and it's phenomenal. Chop a little parsley, put it over some sweet and salty rice, which is also on my website. That's used coconut milk to make that with a little sugar and salt. It's delicious. I also do the ginger, lemongrass, and hoisin short rib. So that just sits in your oven for 6 hours, makes your house smell amazing and just fall apart. It's delicious. And a ribollita soup, which is interesting. It's actually a Tuscan soup. I don't feel like you see it all that often. It's tomato based, and what's really cool about it is you actually use bread as the thickener. It's not a roux, it's not flour, it's not cream. It's just full of veggies, and it's hearty, and with fall coming up, I feel like that would be a really great go-to.
Well, Megan, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Megan Gregory, personal chef, recipe creator, and food photographer. You can find all of her work, as well as many of these recipes, including the recipe that she demonstrated for us today, on her website at theculinarynest.com. Again, that's theculinarynest.com. That's going to do it for today's edition of the MegaCast. Got about 90 seconds left in the program. We want to thank everybody that joined us today. Of course, you listening and watching from home, from work, and all around the world on our website on civiccentertv.com, as well as on My Michigan TV. Those listening on the radio on the Biff and on 89.3 Lakes FM, watching us on Civic Center TV and on Birmingham Area Municipal Access. We also want to thank all of our guests, Dr. Varun Vora from the Michigan Poison Center, Kurt Metzger, the mayor of Pleasant Ridge, for joining us as well, Dustin McClellan from the Pontiac Community Foundation, as well as both Chris Godolka and Christina Percoli from the Sylvan Table, and of course Megan Gregory from the Culinary Nest. Thank our entire crew, also Larry Nyland, our booking producer, and our Zoom producer, for getting the guests to come on the show and then also helping them ensure that they get on smoothly and we have a good connection with them each and every day. And same with Calvin Brown over here, our board operator, with me in the studio each and every day from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. If you want to watch this full episode or any of our interviews from today's show or other shows, go to our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, and then on civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, you'll find helpful information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the state of Michigan, Oakland County, and many of our local municipalities, as well as our top news stories. That will do it for us today. Coming up next on My will be the Steve Lathos Show, and more great programming on Civic Center TV and on Bama and our other partners. We'll be back tomorrow morning live from 10 a.m. until 12 noon.